Please note, the views shared by host and guests are personal and not affiliated to any groups. This podcast is strictly for entertainment and general information only, and not for professional advice. Some topics may be sensitive. Listener discretion is advised. By watching, you agree the host and producer are not liable for any effects of the content within. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to it. It's the Me podcast happening live and direct. This is yet another episode, and shout out. A special shout out goes out to the engineer. And shout out goes out to my engineer. EM is in the building, making sure that the sound is proper. Shout out also goes out to my videographer. That's one Belief, aka Trouble. Yeah, make sure that the videos are in check, everything is in check. And today, I'd like to send a special shout out going out to Cafe Alana. Do remember that if you come here, if you pull up at Cafe Alana, you can get yourself bed, breakfast, dresses on order, all in one set. You can also get your lunches. You can also do events, my weddings, whatever, photo shoots, whatever it is that you want. You can also pull up and swim. It is what it is. It's Cafe Alana, and you already know the name. The name is Zkit, aka. You already know the rest. I'm your host for the Me podcast, and another shout out goes out to our proud sponsors. That's TLB City. TLB City makes sure that we come pull up. Tiri lace, jeka, jagarungeka. Tekwansa kumwa, tekwansa traveler, tekwansa kuya. Tiri podcast. A large number. They're specialists in buying and, of course, selling and technical support and repairs. That's of your earth moving equipment. They got you the proper fix. We're talking about mining equipment. We're talking about earth moving equipment, farming equipment, construction equipment. Plus hiring. Zoma excavator, also Madoza, not forgetting Matipas. They've got you in check. Shout out and a special large up going out to one Pablo Escobar. Remember, you can link up with him on 0772-934-001 so you can highlight and get yourself the equipment. And today we've got a special guest. We've got our special guest, specialist. That's one Bruce Grayton Muzawazi Mano.
You know, that's my second son.
That's your second. How come?
I mean, my dad so apparently son of was doing I think that occurred. My sure was in the chance with Muzawazi. So Dara and Daz Isha, but name is name you don't ask money.
Is it like sub surname to a surname?
Kule segura ni tuma sana.
No, but I remember like my granddad Wainzi Murewa Nema Mudzimirema. So Mudzimirema is like the like the clan's name. Cleanliness, and then there's like the sub names and whatever you.
Exactly, but one knows only the popular out there guy. Yeah.
Abazosha no mira nemuno ezeneta kuti zvinhu zvacho zvibva zvatichi. And of course you happen to be the CEO. That's the CEO of Privacy Compliance Consultancy Company. Yeah. Privacy Compliance Consultancy. Privacy Compliance Consultancy.
Yes.
All right. What do you guys do?
So just as in the name, Privacy Compliance, that's what we specialize in. So now there's a new act in the government of Zimbabwe. I don't know if you heard of it. You know, Cyber and Data Protection Act.
Okay.
And the SI 155 regulations of 2024. Basically, those are two acts and the regulations that look to protect us as individuals of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And our personal identifiable information, our data, how it's controlled, how it's collected, and how it's processed by whether my companies or by other individuals. So in those acts, we're saying you and me, we have our rights to privacy.
Thank you for saying you and me. Can you say I'm me?
Yes, sir.
And so, in case you didn't know, as my good homie from way back, I want to take you back before we get into the Cyber Data Protection Act. Who's Bruce, man? people might know we see you as the CEO, lead
data protection officer.
Lead data protection officer.
Yes.
But who's Bruce?
All right. Bruce, I grew up born and bred in Umtare, right in the middle of Sakuba.
Sakabi!
199 NHB. Sakuba.
Kuba NH.
Yeah, NHB. I do drango, you know. So that's where I was born and raised.
Salad Jagatangari.
Salad. Chinwan singazika no one way seka. Wanna get salad chill uptown. Maz. Uptown you do lifestyle yeah. Just salad chill go get because you want to imitate it uptown. So that about story more because I used to envy that lifestyle and I think back then in the days Pazit BC Bay is it as so Buddha, you know, crisscross, they used to have their
crisscross go make you jump. Just cross.
So I used to rock that a lot. So the big homies they came up with a name for me, you know. So born 1988 to August. Saguva, then my early for ECD I went to UTOP.
Mira. Kwakusina ECD mazwe. Thank you. Crash takenda ku.
So apa crash started by UTOP. Padenga then from there primary vadenda pa Zamba. Then some parts of me vanamboenda ku Harare kwakuina mudhara because I was in the army. Just for a year or two I came back. Vanenda pa St. Joseph Primary. Then I was in the Chisamba. Then secondary manch 4 months but the boys I. First term mazambo dakwa dazorwa ghetto man sakubva 1 kusvika depends. Then for my early tertiary around 2007 ndazoenda pa Poly ndatanga kuita NC computer systems for about 3 years.
Chipedza national certificate.
Yeah, national certificate pa Poly and computer systems rinoita 3 years ndarova ndapedza. Then first graft rangu company yakandichengeta City Council, Mutare City Council. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to preempt, but also beside Ganzo.
So my career, actually, majority of my career, all of my career so far, up until Tanga Consultancy, I have been nurtured by City of Mutare. Because if I tell you the ndakaenda pa City of Mutare in 2010 August ndine NC, then ndazosara ndoita bachelor's resoftware engineering ndichipedza vandaita masters rekutanga neGZ. Ndazoita rimwe masters rechitu futi. Then even
masters for what? What's the second one for?
So the bachelor's, I have a bachelor's
software engineering, right?
And then it's first masters. It's a master of commerce in information systems. Ndakaita neGZ. Then when that's H2, it's Master of Science in Web Design and Development. And I got a UNICEF, Zambia. Yeah, that was an online thing. Then when that's an executive diploma in cyber laws. I got an Athena Global Education. It's another online institution. Then Charles Rundishipin the management consultants. Soon after Babuda Act, CDPA and regulations. The act now.
Say DPA, please expand.
Cyber and Data Protection Act.
Yes, Cyber and Data Protection Act. CDPA. Could decide best. So Begango Buddha government actually the act mandates every company for as long as you deal in a minimum of 50 individuals in Zimbabwe. As we is these like 50 employees? Or it's just 50 people?
50 people. So in the act, people, one chance at the data subject. So my individuals were identified as data subject. So as we know, my day-to-day working customer go with the shop or for as long per day, but you pin that on 50. So
as long as there's human interaction and you get their details for whatever reason, you have to
be registered
and licensed.
Exactly. So when that came out now, City Council, the bosses were very generous. They're very good people. So they'll be like, I know I'm going to for this training portraits. Because Nega wasn't going to afford it. The training, it costs 1,500 just for 3 weeks. You sit for exams, you get certified. Once you pass, minimum pass is 75%.
You know me, Nina, I think outside the box. The 0.5, does it include lunches and...
How can I say lunch, do your own stuff?
Accommodation, do your own stuff.
So for me, That's why I'm always grateful to City of Mtare, because they paid my tuition fees 1.5. Then they also paid for my accommodation and stay in Harare for 3 weeks. Was senda iri Zimbabwe iri ushandiswa its HIT, Harare Institute of Technology. Yeah. So I was actually, so after the examinations, when I passed, company got decided to me and my boss. So my boss we are both DPOs for City of Mtare.
Okay. Expand to me, because there's people who don't understand, who don't know what DPO is.
Okay. DPO is just a shortcut for Data Protection Officer.
Okay.
So act now, and it for as long your business deals with a minimum of 50 people, for you to
the employees or subjects that walk in.
Exactly. Or even my colleges, my schools, whether my students, whether whatever, for as long as 50.
So if you've got a school, you've got a preschool, you've got a nightclub.
But the act no license with the data controller. Because for security reasons, which has some CCTV. And the act but it governs how you handle data.
Okay, we'll get to talk about that. Socially, you like to play ball. Do you play that professionally?
Zim being Zim, we go professional, but it doesn't pay. So technically, it ends up
professional is not really professional. You've got bambuza, no.
You actually play in the league, but we call it professional for the love of the game and to respect the game.
It's as professional as it gets.
Exactly. So I've played for. We used to have our club, Morning Side Kunokuenzi Chiefs. Exactly. And your Chiefs.
There was one prior to Chiefs. There was.
As you Sunday street ball, beer league. It was every Sunday. We go for boys at 3 p.m. too late. We jam. So from there, I think some of the guys, let's make a team. We joined the professional league. Then we.
That's Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah, by the time it transformed to Chiefs, I wasn't playing ball anymore.
Most of the OGs who started that club had left. You had left. Jumi had left.
Rest in peace, Andy Bosso.
Bro.
Yeah.
Crossover arena ended So
that Sunday ball was amazing. Also, big respect to Fari Machkachka.
Exactly.
Machkachka, O Twice, and K Guns, G Twists, Ginya. It's a whole list.
Full circle. And even Farinya Manindi. Shout out to the big homie. Shata. Every time you could bring a cooler box, my drinks, my Brian and a Guanzo, true bola, throw my beer, throw my drinks, throw my Brian.
So that's what culminated into a professional team.
Yeah.
Are you still playing professional ball?
So Chiefs, we ran for about 4-5 seasons. Tambo National League, I think with the closest we got, quarter final. National League, boys. Then after that, a lot of cats moved. Life happens. Some to school, work, then Yazongo dissolve. I think last year, one was Mam's number players. Then I joined City Saints. I played for a season and a half. Then I just decided to, but to show I still get love for the game. Recently, the Manicaland Basketball Association, they got my elections for the executive committee, and I was elected to be the secretary general of the association. So I might not be playing anymore, but I'm now into the administrative side.
What does the SG do for basketball?
The SG, you more like the right hand man or president. Every protocol, evereverything comes through you. Hakuna mari association.
I remember.
You find team struggle to pay for affiliation.
Yeah, I remember at one point, I think we tried to start an association called the MBA, Manicaland Basketball Association. We had a whole thing in that. In fact, there's still the organization now, but at some point we tried to do a league. But I think people felt different about it. They thought titone mari dzimwe dzatotopiwa, but they didn't realize it was coming all up the pockets. And then, because I understand when you in these positions or when you assume these positions, sometimes you're doing it for the love, but people misread the concept. People misread what you're getting at. What's the whole idea? And yet it's just but us trying to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I understand those pressures, and I hope you're managing.
Yeah, the elections were only yesterday, 2 August. Yes. So I'm fresh 24 hours in the office now.
Congratulations.
That's a whole lot of 4 years to 2029.
Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah, about 4 years. 4 years. So yeah. SG, Baba. So Iwewe, now that you're SG, us going back to the whole it's called the CDPA. Right. What do you guys have a DPO? Is in an association?
Yeah, because you deal with more than 50 people.
True story.
It's each team has got at least 15 players.
A true story.
Would you need that?
Yeah, it's something I'm going to try to pitch to the whole committee and the association. See how best we can handle that. Because we do need that. Every team playing.
Was not on the social, but you only my
details. My phone number, my email address. Even for our events, sometimes we have a media section. We need to show my pictures, my videos, my fans. So we by the act now we are mandated to collect, store and process that.
But how isn't that expensive for an association that's not really making money? How do you then get a DPO? Because I understand they need a salary.
It's for them now. They didn't know all that, but that's where I come in now. I will try my level best to serve both as SG and as DPO. I will give them my services for free. But yeah, it's one angle we never really looked at from that perspective.
Yeah.
When they voted,
I know a lot of people don't actually look at it, don't even think about it. This brings me to one issue, or rather, okay, I would like for you to outline what it means for us as individuals, what it means, what this Cyber Data Protection Act means for us as individuals. What does it entail in the layman and the Tango Association Yangu? This is why I brought about the basketball thing, because clearly a lot of people don't think they need that in an association.
Exactly.
So what does the Cyber Data Protection Act entail?
Okay, first things first, it looks to protect the privacy rights of individuals.
Yeah.
From there now, it then cascades to the business side of things, what associations, institutions are mandated to do. But first things first, it's very heavy on issues to do with consent. Okay? Consent and also our rights as data subjects. There are key 7 rights that you and me have as data subjects.
Okay.
Number 1, you have a right to be forgotten.
I think data subjects will also okay.
But okay. So for the purpose of the house and the cast, whenever we're gonna say data subject, we're just referring to any living
human being with an identity.
Exactly. Are living. Okay. For as long you are dead, or for as long you are in
you stop being a subject.
You stop being a data subject, because we are saying that you are not a living person. You become what they call a legal person. Okay?
A legal person.
We have a legal person and a living person.
Oh, okay.
A legal person can be a company, can be your brand, you and me, this podcast.
Okay.
If you are to, according to intellectual property rights, you can file for copyrights. No one is ever going to use that and me statement. That becomes your brand. Okay. Same as those big brands, Coca-Cola, Chicken. You can go about using their names.
I can't just say I'm a Coca-Cola guy.
Exactly. So that becomes a legal person. Then we have a, for as long as you are a living person. A living person now, that's what we're saying, you're a data subject. For as long as you have any personal identifiable information, anything that we can use to identify you. If you say Bruce Muzawazi, you can identify me.
That's you.
You see. So for as long as you have any, in short, we just call it PII, personal identifiable information.
Okay.
It could be your phone number. I can use your phone number to identify you.
Okay.
In the act, that becomes your data. Anything that's used to identify a living individual.
Okay.
In the act, it's called.
Okay, this is getting interesting. Okay.
You see, your address, your ID number, your bank statement, your account, your bank account, if it's put together, maybe with a name, we can use that to identify you.
Yeah.
You know.
So banks need to be licensed, registered with Potras.
Yes.
So as to be in what do you call it?
To have the data controller license.
Okay.
And as part of the licensing requirement now, that's when we have the need for that person called data protection officer.
Okay.
If a good example I can give, just to make it clear, for example, even my pharmacy, if you were to start a pharmacy, if you want to get registered, they require you to have a licensed pharmacist.
Okay, one licensed pharmacist you need to be registered to. You know, the GA pharmacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the same thing. For you to get a data controller license, you need to have a certified and licensed data protection officer. When is
this already active or it's about to get active?
Yeah. So the act was promulgated 21 September 2024 last year.
Okay.
So what Potras did, they gave a grace period to my companies and
do you think these companies know?
They don't. It's alarming the rate at which you know,
because prior to having a conversation with you, I didn't know this was a requirement.
It is now a requirement. So earlier on this month, 4th July, I tried to host an awareness workshop here in Manicaland. Out of the 300 companies that I invited, using physical invitations,
it's not even email.
It's not even email.
Yeah.
Bruh, only 20 companies responded. Only 20.
Did they respond because they didn't? Did they not respond because they didn't understand?
So
the consequences of not.
Someone would even saying, it's what in IT, panapa, so and this one IT. They wouldn't even give me an opportunity to explain. No, it's beyond IT. IT only comes go act in section 1824 somewhere there. Technical measures. The data controller. That is if you have digital systems.
Yeah.
So data it can be on paper. You don't need to have an IT section. You need a data controller.
As long as you get identifiable information about people, then you need to be registered, you need to be licensed, you need that certification.
Exactly.
All right, to a layman, what does it mean? What rights do I have in this Data Protection Act? Cyber, okay, I want to give it its full name, Cyber Data Protection Act. What rights do I have as an individual? Was it to talk about my business? Yes. To talk about my business, we need to conscientize them, they need to know. Let's talk about me as an individual. What rights do I have? Pakawanda pandoshika ma CCTV aribo. You understand? Pakawanda pandoshika nwanzi
This is
lotoshika notopopoterwa zimwe munokozani mimi bambo kuzataura zvizari basa unozani. Do I have a right to withhold that information? Do I have a right to say I don't want to give you that
exactly
information?
Perfect. So right number one, just like example yotoba right to objection. Unogona kuramba yokuti andisikuda kuti mu process information for as long the company now or the institution or organization you're dealing with, for as long they have what we call a legal grounds for processing. For example, to go to COVID. We're going to stipulate your travel history. It's also part of your data. Even if almost not a number in Akumusha, but now because of COVID, they call it public interest. You know, the government is trying to protect the public. If they know your conduct now, so now that public interest.
So like the government has got a right to that information.
Exactly. So
do they need a DPO?
Yes, they do have.
Or they already have?
A majority of them they already have, especially in the government. So what happens now is, I gave you that as an example, right to objection, but depending on the organization you're dealing with, they also have their own rights once they are registered as data controller.
Okay.
They can say, Bruce, for us to deal with you, for example, no opacity of Mtare, they can say, Bruce, will do Badare pay, we need your bank account. It's my data. I can't need my bank account and lose what salary say. Okay. So that becomes a contractual basis. And then, so when to my basis to account to the company no gono it account, but to go back to your question, you have a right to object processing, you have a right to, they call it right to deletion or right to be forgotten. Idogo nongweka na Diamond FM or podcast pago no Lembi uswepeleka da podcast yedu achi delete ancha do keep any data.
I don't want you to post me.
Thank you.
Take down that ingredient.
Ogaramba, I can actually sue you.
But what if we've agreed to air it prior?
So the act, it's a good question. The act is very strict. Pagoti chekutanga ma organization chanufana kuita is to get consent. I'll collect data around personal consent. Once I collect a consent, tapedzerani.
So
people consent. They say consent has to be freely given and it can be freely taken. So what
happens? What happens now? The shooter would consent. I've posted, and then you get negative vibes. Can you withdraw consent?
Yeah, I can. That's why I explain in the act it's explicit. The consent has to be freely given and it can be freely withdrawn at any given time, free of charge.
So I want to get my next guest. Is it better for me to say you cannot unconsent? I want to protect my content as well.
So you but there are other legal ways of going about it.
Yeah.
So you can tell all your guests before they come on show. You can make them sign my consent forms, my NDA, or we're gonna keep this for such a long period. Yagati, and China. You guys will withdraw consent yako after that poster. We're not gonna because zero my charges. It income cost. You have your sound guys, all this and that. You can
shout out to my sound guys. EM was ended with you. Shout out to my videographer at Trouble.
So for as long you make that clear upfront, you can have your policy documents with whoever guest comes on our show. These are our terms. Do you agree? Yes or no?
Okay.
Then we put that in writing.
It brings me to Tagona, that whole video that has gone viral, that whole thingy, Coldplay. You've got cameras. This brings me. Okay, before I pause my scenario, I remember there was people going on and on and on. People weren't happy. They call they call the feet around. The Japres Abakatanzi. Inini cannot professional in a professional camera. Kushow kwangu chidotora professional show. Unfana badara because content. And that's what they said. And Uri promoter, if you're going to want to take videos of me with a professional camera, Pane Marino associate with an because content in there, Ndini. I don't know if you remember that.
I once heard about it. Yeah.
And don't know JP no penga, JP no jinja kuita kudini chichi. Is that a right? People can't collect information, but they're coming to a gig. Like where do we draw the line? Like je called play paper, good work Zoom crowd, and then they caught someone unaware as now consented to video, and then they went viral.
So according to the act, it's whoever, whether you mama promoters one show if you're gonna have your gig and from a poster arco, it's now mandatory. From a poster arco, you need to put a disclosure statement. They're good for gig paid susu. We're gonna have media guys or my photo, my video, and we'll be using it on our public platforms.
Yeah.
If do you consent, yes or no? Can also consent, maybe you guys can come up with by Vendi, we're gonna have a section. It's not to run my camera, or maybe you're going to come up with the mechanism. Say, for example, not going to tag, cannot get pink. Your camera guys who know Gaunam and take pink at this umchora.
Is it practical though?
It is practical.
If we're having a concert, ku left, I would with video. who writes.
Very easier. Very easier.
Wait, digital.
I think nobody wants to go VIP.
So the other easier thing will be if I'm going to be expensive to implement a Jagadaro, no going to mutora munoese, but I'm no publisher.
So your flyer needs to have a statement like we are going to be filming.
Exactly.
Anything you say or do is of public
exactly. So consumption. So by you buying our tickets, you are consenting
to being filmed.
Exactly. If you don't consent, you gotta find a way you to indicate it. I'm not gonna film, but Magzo publisher. You can now gray out the faces. You can cut it off.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I want to take you back to Zoka when you have my flyer. So, in essence, anybody on their premises that has a CCTV camera, anybody that collects any sort of data, kuma sports check,
exactly,
kuchikoro check, kuzazi une magore mangani, kuma Olympics check.
God when you back gate check for long ane logbook, not on your own the visitors logbook.
Upotora phone number yako, ukubvunza zita ne ID.
Exactly. Because record the number plate yako, it's part of your personal identifiable information.
What do you think? What do you? Oh, okay. What is this for? At that time, I was not explaining. Whatever ima camera, boga the camera muna autori ku code play, there must be consent, and the old funnel publicizer say muna promoter, no muna publicizer teachers or kutora imi picture.
Exactly.
What is this for?
So it all goes back now to protecting my individuals and your rights to privacy. Imagine, for example, you could play your Torah. Do you know that guy was a CEO? He was forced to resign.
Yeah.
Obviously, kananga na madam. That's a divorce coming. It's a lawsuit to a divorce. So imagine that harm, that damage is done to him simply by only that 10 seconds. The clip budapo. So it goes back to protecting my rights and my individuals. You mustn't. Someone shouldn't collect my personal data without my consent.
So my face,
that's your personal
my
data.
frame,
that's your personal data.
My eyes,
that's your personal
my
data.
finger,
that's your personal data.
No one has got a right to collect it and publicize it without my consent.
Thank you. It's even interesting that in the act, my biometrics and my images, don't fit the classifier is sensitive data.
Let's go.
And there's not like a special whoever is collector. To find special ways of protecting that data. Because rikango lika chero rikango biwa and mazwana kwa identity theft. Unogonenda pa Facebook unoona mo futhi Bruce Muzawazi asiri nini. Ashogin box on the
kana iya chingonzo Bruce Muzawazi.
Awu kana iye ndizvo but
as long as they're not using your images, your face, your DNA, anything to do with you as an individual.
The identity theft kayo. You see, mazwan gune fraud. There's AI. Someone can use your images for the wrong reason.
I'm a very loving person. Nobody's going to
imagine. AI.
So do you think this act is there to protect people against AI or partially, or it's just something Chango incapacitated to that?
So, okay, allow me to put it this way. The whole essence behind this act is to protect my individuals and their data, how it's collected, where it's going to be used, how it's going to be used, how it's going to be stored, how it's going to be destroyed after it's used.
Toenda pa mchato, toti mchato wa Bruce. Buda mchato. Do I need to consent? Or as Bruce, who's wedding, do I need to point out invitation card, RSVP paper is washing? Can I mchato kwangu kuchatorwa ma video? Do I need to point that out?
Yeah, because
weddings are usually 50 and above. Yeah,
it's something that we always overlook here in Zimbabwe. So actually, if I was to put it in my own way, the whole CDP, it's like a new culture. We need to learn. It's a culture we need to adopt. And yes, you are very right. Pamchato pangu, for example, at my wedding, I had 250 guests, 200 to 250 guests. And the whole idea to a video, or probably to share with my relatives.
Mondo na nini anko ndakadakwa. Magu film video yenyu ndakadakwa.
Not for commercial gains. Ukazona ndawo the video record yemchato ndakutoitengesa kana ndakusoma public platform without the consent.
I'm a public person. I'm a DJ. It's Lampy.
So we need consent. Consent is always key. But not consent.
Okay. You attend my wedding. I am definitely filming on my wedding. At what point do I tell you, Kuti, you need consent? I need consent to film my wedding.
So like I said, it's a new culture. I know someone listening might be saying, that's not practical. But just like example in Dogo, very practical, my gigs. Do you know the Beer Fest last year, the last one they held in Harare, Belgravia, their first flyer, they actually had that...
That's a disclosure.
Exactly. They were aware of that closure.
Well, Baba, okay, you mentioned last year. Last year, sometime there was a statement. Admin with family group. I want to talk about it. So you can outline it. Because it's still my layman. I did it. We don't understand. But there was an outcry around. So how did admin with family group? Was it about money or what? I think there was an issue around that whole, which emanated from the whole Cyber Data Protection Act.
So, let me take it from two angles. The Badara party or one no licensing it ashtaura. Maria exactly. So in truth, if you need to obtain a license from Portrait, and but obtain a license even no better. So you have a license. So now that in two parts. So the first part, the Gubadaramari, that is if only can a group range for for commercial gains. So can a church non-profitable non-profitable organization.
Very
tricky, man. For my NGO now, it's a bit tricky, but the law itself is very explicit with the, my exemptions are not for my family groups. And WhatsApp you are for as long as for non-commercial gains. In my churches also.
As long as for non-commercial gains.
Then law enforcement.
Okay.
Law enforcement. Yes. Exactly. But exemption in licensing, but they are mandated by the law to respect my private rights. And the church in the Garoa prophecy church, the church doesn't have any right to publicize on their public platform without my consent, especially if it's something which is sensitive.
Okay, I want to draw the line. Is this about images? Is this about videos? Or is this about even me saying Kuti Lampy wakaro church?
You see, so Alberto was there with Lampy. The Garins can identify you. That's a
brand name.
You see now. So we need to protect them. Those who don't protect one. If you're gonna publicize it.
What if it's true?
Yeah, but personal my consent, it's a criminal offense.
What if I'm a newsroom?
So Pama exemptions in Ashtaura, we also have my journalists.
Yeah.
And my journalists they're exempted, and my researchers they're exempted. Family groups, my WhatsApp, Chichi, they're exempted.
Okay, let me hold you there. A journalist is exempted from publishing things about me, whether I consent or not.
They are only so from my categories they say that are exempted. They're only exempted from paying for a license, but could respect my private rights. It's mandated.
Right, let's just say, because I like that you mentioned journalists. Our podcast and me, we are journalists. We talk about people's issues. We talk about different things. Are you saying that I can publicize things about you because I've got an exemption?
No, without my consent, you can't. Suppose it's
what if it's news? It's bad news. You can't consent to bad news. How do I publicize things that are negative about you?
Thank you. It's a good question. So now you can use what they call anonymization. You don't have to necessarily say Bruce Muzawazi chakati, you can anonymize unless or otherwise.
Right. I get you pants down. It's evident, it's true. I've got pictures that I'm not consented to take. But that's evidence. That can be used even in the court of law.
Exactly.
I may not have the right to take your picture, but I am a journalist. Ndakutora picture is for evidence. Kuti Joshua Bruce namuona mu swimming pool. Aine munhu asiri wake.
So
whether I ask you or not, are you going to consent? Or do I really need to have your voice? Isu takapodziswa journalism taizi. Ndofana kubvunza. Undipe engo yako. All parties involved before I publish. So but you obviously don't want me to publish.
So there's no one above the law. You only exempted a license, but they're for license from portraits. So whether on the Torah to use it as evidence in court, yes, in court you might use that as evidence. But if you now take it to public platforms, I can sue Bruce, you. That's a violation of my rights.
No, I want to tell you something. I'll use a very derogative term. It's not allowed. I'm not allowed as a journalist, but I'm going to use it. Chiure. Nilo. It's not illegal to fornicate. It's not illegal to have out of marital chichichi. But for me, it's news.
So there's one article in Farira whenever I buy Manika Post, it's Blabbermouth.
Yeah.
He puts out these stories there, but he's never violating my rights because he's never using personal identifiable information.
But if they've got evidence, if they've got evidence, can they use it?
You know you can't.
Okay.
You can't put,
so are you telling me? Are you telling me? Listen. I'm arguing my case. You are explaining to me. Is everybody consenting to that story being publicized?
So Chuana man is not zoitika. Pagadaro a good example. A murderer a convictor and it.
Ana convictor arikuzi.
For as long journalists yo nyaya wa une pandu watora ku court and mark journalists you're allowed to be in court. You record my court proceedings. And so by virtue of the case being held under the courts of law. And in the courts of law, they have an exemption. And you're recording the proceedings. But in your reporting now, according to the new act, you're now required to anonymize some of that data. Can I read John Chimuti maybe until I am convicted? And also, there's been an argument around the privacy circles from us, my private practitioners. Yes, I might be guilty, court of murder and all that, but I still have my rights as an individual.
So are you saying a murderer has got rights to not being publicized?
So that argument right now, it's very topical across the nation, especially in our groups as privacy practitioners and DPOs. Those are some of the key topical issues we're discussing right now. Some, there's very huge...
It's vague, huh?
Yeah, some are saying it's only for the court to decide that...
Upombo is not illegal. But in that upombo
you can only anonymize. So it's something it's a new culture that also needs to be adopted. Maybe kuma chechi kana kuma researcher.
Do you not think before its adaptation, we need to clarify these things?
Exactly.
And now, when do we start adopting it if there's these loopholes?
So the good thing about it, just like anything else, there are always gonna be exactly. There are always gonna be gaps. You're never gonna have a perfect act. I'm sure Ace is how my acts at Zimbabwe. At one point, that's why you can have my revisions. I know the acts Chaguti of 2021, the ones of 2024. Yeah, review. You see now.
But you can't take me whilst I'm in the pool.
You see. So Paris is equals next so. It's a exemption in my journalist illegal, but you are required now to anonymize unless or other. Even in my courts, there's a big section in my private practitioners that argue with. Even in my courts, even if I'm convicted, I still have my rights to privacy. But I know it's for public safety, it's for public interest. So you are supposed to be, naming and shaming. You see, so still, apana foot acting babu minom naming and shaming, support naming and shaming. Apana foot acting condemn naming and shaming. So it's always for right now it's in the balance. The court also decide that already. We make a name and shame Bruce for murder of a rape. My circumstances maybe my violate my rights or maybe another. Right now.
I think we'll never finish this. For the sake of the people, for the sake of the public, for the sake of you who are watching the podcast. This is Bruce Greatson Muzawazi Mano, and of course he is a DPO CEO. And we're talking about the cyber, the CDPA, Cyber Data Protection Act. We're trying to, give it a layman's angle. I want you just quick fast because podcast the time they are shatter, and those who are further questioning and answering, they can reach you directly and they can find you. Just outline to me what it means, the CDPA for businesses, and what it means for individuals.
Okay.
Quick, fast, in maybe 1 minute.
All right. I think majority of it we've discussed from the data subjects side as individuals. So I think let me just focus on the
business side.
On the business side. So for as long you handle data around a minimum of 50. As you kuti ma students vana vechikoro ma employees ma walking visitors ma CCTV panze vanhu varongozvidarikira for as long as they're being kept at a minimum of 50. By the act you are now required to be licensed nepotras. You get your data controller's license and so as part of the requirements they go under that license you are required to have the services of a person on the DPO data protection officer and so majority of my companies we know it's another additional cost employer money full time because the act reports directly to the CEO.
Yeah.
So when I'm now reported direct to CEO, it's a director level. Pay a director junior officer. So that's a huge cost to companies. So wasinga kwani employer full time DPO. That's where now I come in with my company. That those are
consultants.
The act to vomidza with the consultants in my company.
So you can consult for various companies.
As many as possible. That's why you see I'm part-time DPO for City of Ontario because my boss is the appointed DPO. But at the same time, I'm also consulting out there. It's well within the provisions of the act.
All right, word. Thank you so much for coming through and sharing with us. It is hoping that you people that are at home, it is hoping that you that's watching this podcast, Sister Ami podcast, you caught on to the Cyber Data Protection Act. What does it entail? What do you need to do? What can you do? Shout out goes out to Cafe Alana for making sure that we've got the residence where we can chill and podcast. And shout out also to TLB City, making sure that we've got the juice, we've got the sauce, we've got the drip, and the episode came through. Best you believe you need to know your rights when it comes to cyber security. We out. The podcast. What?